And make you rotate this device. Fine. Hey. I have to find where the camera is now. So, yes, I've been slowly waking up from a dream. And, questioning all the reasons why I became part of a cult, why I became part of JW, and how little it did in the means of helping me become a better person. And yet, when I meet young JW people, they are wholesome. They are pure for the most part, and innocent. And you love them for that. They're little fishes out of a bowl when they get with some of the worldly people. But then you meet worldly people who have the most sweetest, wonderful, kindest children, even more so than the majority of J-dubs. So you're like, wow, I've been prejudiced this whole time. Just prejudiced. And that's what a cult teaches you. To be prejudiced against other people. To see only the bad in others that aren't part of the cult. And only the good in people that are part of the cult. And that's the reason why they're good, is because they're part of the cult. And that's just not true. That's just not true. I think now, I used to say, I won't say take me to your leader. I will never say that. I've always been a thinking person. I've always been a searcher. I've always been knocking on the door. And that's because that's what Jesus said to do. But if I had been raised in this religion and not allowed to think for myself and been spanked to sit still and listen and to shame people that weren't in this religion, that's the job of the Father. He shames anybody who's not in this religion. So out of fear, you believe it's the truth and you don't dare look any further within the Bible. You don't dare. Because if you did, you'd find out how much love you have to share with people. And it's not just the kind of love where you go door to door to tell them about Jehovah. There's so much more to love than that. So I just think I wanted to go public because it helped me so much watching all the other people's videos who went public after they left the cult, after they left JW, after they quit believing the lies they were told, after they quit trusting that these 7 men are God's appointed men and the only appointed men that God has appointed in these last 100 years is them. Feeding us at the right time when we have to throw away all our literature from the past because apparently it wasn't actually right. Somehow it was the right food at the right time. I don't know. Somehow I've allowed myself to believe that, I guess. So, you want to say hi to Elvis? Come here, Elvis. Say hi. Oh, I can't do it. You got to come up here. Come up here. Yeah. That's Elvis. He's helped me through all of this. So, all I gotta say to you guys is do your research. Watch some of these people online talking about how they woke up. After I woke up from the Leah Remini show, Scientology, I just started watching a ton. I mean, I gorged myself on the YouTube channel. I never watched apostate stuff till then. I never would have watched anything that was an apostate. 30 years of Watchtower Slave. Never would have read that. Never would have watched any of their videos. I would have been prejudiced, prejudged them. They're demonized. They're worldly. They hate Jehovah. They just want to go out and have sex and drugs and do whatever they want to do and have no consequences. They're all demonized. They're all Satan's organization, you know. And some are. I mean, don't get me wrong. They hate religion so bad now after being part of this cult. They hate it so bad after being mistreated by this religion that they do go out and do a lot of really bad stuff. And I'm not judging them. I am judging the stuff they do because I did it too. So, gosh, no. It's just not healthy. Maybe I should put it that way. It's not healthy, but it has consequences. Everything has consequences. Karma, reap what you sow, whatever. Those are universal truths. So I would never have listened to any of those videos. And, there's a huge fight going on between all the apostates out there on how to be an activist, how to help people wake up. Should we go to the halls and tell them, about the pedophile problem? Absolutely. I feel like people that do that are so brave. Are they all doing it perfectly? Heck no. They're learning. That's how you learn. You have to fail forward. So if they're doing it right or wrong, it really doesn't matter. They will learn. And that's the same with the other activists that say, no, don't do that. Let's just stick to YouTube. And they're atheists, that is a real turnoff for any ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, that listening to an atheist. I mean, that's a real turnoff for me. If I had known some of the people I was listening to were atheists, right away I wouldn't have listened to them. But thank goodness I didn't know till later that different people I were listening to were atheists. Thank goodness, because they had really good stuff to say. But when you're coming out of a cult, you are prejudiced. And that's the thing. And I used to think, oh, if only I belonged, this is how prejudiced I was. If only I belonged to a black congregation, I would be accepted, because they're so much more loving and warm and welcoming. And then, I get to see all you guys on here. It's just, you went through the same thing I went through. And it's so, so sad what this organization does to people, how it just takes your personality and makes you become a robot, makes you become numb, and makes you live in the future. You don't live in the now. You can't. It's like, when you're being sexually abused, you can't be in the now, because that would mean having that experience, and sometimes that's just too painful. Well, being spiritually abused is the same thing. It is just so painful that you don't want to be in the now. You have to numb your mind and be dumbed down. And if you're a thinking person, you can do that for a little while, but once you start reading your books again and you start talking to people that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, you're prejudiced still. There's something wrong with them. But when you've been abused by Jehovah's Witnesses, or your children have, you realize everybody has skeletons, not just worldly people, Jehovah's Witnesses. So, I'm making this video because I want you to know, if they come and get me and they disfellowship me and they call me apostate, I'm not afraid anymore, because of the strength that I've gotten from searching, knocking, reading my Bible, and being around other people that their gut feeling told them something was wrong too. And they did research and found out that they were right. There is something wrong with this religion, and it's so like Scientology. You have to believe it. You don't question it. You get shunned if you question it. And, whether they say they shun you or not, they'll say that, oh, we don't shun you if you do that. You shun us, no matter how. When you decide to become a witness, you're basically saying the anointed are the only ones to be trusted, and the circuit overseers and the elders. Everybody else is up for questionability. Is questionable. So I want to give my support to all of you out there, no matter where you're at. If you're a devout Jehovah's Witness like I was, and you're going through pain, I want you to know I'm sorry. And it takes time. But just like Jehovah's Witnesses teach, you become who you hang out with. You want to hang out with people who are thinking people, who don't look at the emperor and say, oh, he has his clothes on. Oh, yeah, he has clothes on. No, 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 no. If the emperor is naked, say so. And that makes life much more real and rich when you're allowed to be present and you're allowed to speak truth. And are you crazy? Sure, we all are. Everybody's a little bit crazy. To be in a cult is you have to be a little crazy to believe that those 7 guys, normal guys, who even claim that they're not inspired, but that they're the ones that Jesus, someone who's so loving and helps children, had children on his lap, are the only ones he sees doing right when they won't even help children who have been sexually molested. They look the other way and they have to be taken to court. I don't think Jesus chose them. Yeah, I don't think so. I think, like I said in one of my videos, I think that they are no better or no worse than me. They might think they're better than me. I mean, that's what you're supposed to think about them. You know, why? That's what they used to tell me when I thought, oh, I'm anointed, right? I mean, I feel like God chose me. Oh no. What have you done? What have you done? You know, these guys up here, they've been pioneers. They've dedicated their whole life for 50 years in full-time service to Jehovah. Oh no, what have you done? You can't be anointed because you haven't done anything. Wow. And I'm okay with not being anointed, but if you are going to be anointed, you better be way better than me in taking care of children, because Jesus said, and this is my scripture, and this is the last one I'm going to say. Jesus said that our only obligation is to look out for widows and fatherless boys or children, to look out for them and stay without spot from the world. We don't do that. And we don't even, I've never even heard that scripture brought up very much. And yet that's a main one. We use it to just for the worldly part, stay without spot from the world. You can remember that. Ding, ding, ding. But look after widows and orphans. We'll hear it once in a while. But then there's no follow through on how to do that. We won't feed them. I think we got a lot of criticism. We finally helped people build back their houses, and if you're sexually abused in this organization, shut up. Don't tell anyone. And don't talk about it. Jehovah will take care of it. And that always reminds me of that saying where that guy's on the island and he says, hey, I'm on an island, and he's praying to God, help me, God, help me. And so a helicopter comes by, lands on the island, says, hey, we're here to help you. Hop on. He says, no, God's sending me something. And then there's a boat comes by and says, hey, come on, we're sending you a boat. Come on, get on. And he said, no, God's sending me somebody. Well, it's no different. That's how it is. People really at times don't get that you have to take action. And part of that action is take care of those kids, and not waiting for God to take care of those kids, but for us to take care of those kids. Are some kids lying? Maybe 1 in 1,000 or maybe 1 in 100. I don't know the numbers. But it's a really low number. Why punish the other 99? It's just makes me so sad. And then when people do leave, they think they left the truth. Well, that can't be the truth if they don't have love among themselves. And if you're supposed to love the adults, how much more should you love the children and protect them? So, Watchtower, if you want me to come back, if you're truly Jehovah's people, if you truly got Jesus' blessings, prove it. Take care of those molested kids. How can you do that? Pay for their apologize to them, pay for them to get help, and make sure there are no elders that have questionable They should be without question, not just among the congregation, but among yourselves, knowing the information you know. Don't let an elder that has questionable qualities or does questionable things with children be an elder. We put our implicit trust in them. In fact, one thing you just recently said to us was sometimes the elders are going to ask you to do something that doesn't seem right. Do it, or doesn't seem logical, or whatever it is, you got to do it. You are setting up so many young children for more molestation because you don't know how kids' minds work, like expecting a kid to scream when they're being molested. They've been groomed. You don't know how the mind works, and until you study the mind, you have no right to decide and judge the children that were molested, but you do have a right to protect them. And if you're not doing that, you're not men. You're slugs. You're just slugs waiting for God. And that's not how God works. He sends helicopters. He sends boats. And every time you see that helicopter and boat, you guys say, no, we're waiting for God. Go for it. Go for it. Loving people see through that crap. Loving people see through it. Robots don't. You'll keep your robots, but I don't know how long you're going to be able to keep them numb. I don't know how long you're going to be able to keep them brain dead. Eventually some are going to wake up. It just reminds me so much of the Matrix, You keep them plugged in. They're not allowed to have any of their own thoughts. You keep them plugged in, and you own them. You got their resources. You've got everything. And you train them to have those children. You've got them plugged into that to have children for you too. And if they don't do it right, what did they do wrong? And they feel guilty the rest of their lives. Their children are dying in Armageddon because of them because they didn't do it right. They didn't beat their kids enough. So anyway, that's my rant for today. I get strength every day from the Bible that I'm doing the right thing. Because when I read the Bible and I compare it to what they're doing, they're wrong. And it's okay with me for people to be wrong. And they have a right to do that. And I have a right not to be part of that, follow that lead. And I have a right to plead with them to let the people go. Let the children go. Take care of them. Bless them. You need to send them off with all that money you guys have, and you give it to all those sexually abused kids. That's what God did to the Egyptians when he let my people go. And you got to give them money when they go too. You got to give them everything when they go, because they're not going to be captive to you anymore. So you and your pyramids and your stuff, let my people go. Let my kids go. Let the children go. And send them off. Send them off with 90%. Something like that. I don't know. I'll have to figure out how much the Egyptians had to let go of. Or you can be like Pharaoh and be stubborn and wait on God to fix it after he's sent everything to take action, to teach you to take action. Jesus took action. He didn't say, wait on Jehovah to fix that arm, wait on Jehovah to get that sheep out of the well, it's Sunday or Saturday, the Sabbath. No, he took action, took action, took action, took action, took action, took action. And he sent a warning. You don't take action. You stumble these little children. It would have been better for you never to have been born, or to have a millstone wrapped around your neck thrown into the ocean, something like that. Clean your hands, Jehovah Witnesses. Clean your hands. Get the blood off your hands. Admit when you were wrong. Admit you have no right to judge others. Admit that it's wrong to protect predators. Admit that these are not apostate lies. That these are not apostate lies. This happened. And we allowed it to happen. Yes, we take responsibility too. But it's your turn too. Egypt had to take responsibility. Maybe you need your 10 plagues. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe that's how Jehovah's going to do it, or God's going to do it, Creator's going to do it, is give you the 10 plagues until you apologize to all the people you've hurt and harmed and killed with your lies and with your judgment that you had no right to do. I pray for the governing body. I pray for all the Jehovah's Witnesses. Every day, pray for a miracle, because that's a right thing to do. But it's not my job to judge them. You know, not my job. I won't judge you, but I will tell you something. I will read the Bible scriptures and ask you to judge yourself. That's what I will do. See ya. How do I turn this off? This way?